Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. Deadly tornadoes and a life-threatening heat wave. Dangerous weather impacting nearly half the country. U.S. stealth bombers are now on the move as the president holds an urgent meeting on Iran, and 2 people arrested in what police say was a plot to poison young women. First, that dangerous heat. More than 150 million Americans from Colorado to Maine now facing several days of heat alerts. This follows deadly storms in the Midwest, including tornadoes, homes destroyed, trains blown off the tracks, and wildfires in the West as that stifling heat builds in the East. The warning tonight from New York City's mayor, our weather team tracking it all. American B-2 stealth bombers now flying to Guam as President Trump considers whether to use them to attack Iran's underground nuclear facilities. Tonight, the president holding a critical meeting with his top national security advisors. And the battle between Israel and Iran intensifying. Marcus Moore in Israel, Selena Wang at the White House. Pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil back with his family tonight. A judge ordering the Columbia graduate to be released after more than 100 days in ICE custody, while the Trump administration still wants him deported. Chilling new details on the suspect accused of killing one Minnesota lawmaker and wounding another. Authorities say he and his wife were disaster preppers and that they discovered thousands in cash, multiple weapons, and body bags in a storage unit. The frightening scene in Wisconsin, hazmat teams called in after a couple is accused in an elaborate plot to poison 2 women who once dated the man. Tragedy in the sky. A hot air balloon goes up in flames and plummets to the ground, killing some who were on board. New details on the death of celebrity chef Anne Burrell, what police say they found in her home. And America Strong tonight, the brave little boy celebrating 1 year since he got his life back.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. Several developing stories as we come on. U.S. B-2 bombers moving across the Pacific as President Trump weighs whether to strike Iran, and the urgent meeting tonight with his national security team. But we begin with the deadly storms in the Heartland and more than 150 million Americans on alert for dangerous heat. The state of emergency in North Dakota, at least 3 people killed, severe thunderstorms and several reported tornadoes, leaving a trail of destruction across the state. A storm chaser capturing this massive twister, and these drone images showing about a dozen train tanker cars derailed by a tornado. The hot, dry, and windy conditions fueling multiple wildfires in the west, this one in Utah forcing mandatory evacuations and destroying multiple homes. Our weather team is standing by with more on that dangerous heat wave now building in the east. But first, here's ABC's Melissa Adan.
Tonight, the state of emergency, deadly weather ravaging the Heartland as more than 150 million Americans from the Midwest to the Northeast brace for life-threatening heat. 3 are dead after multiple reported tornadoes in North Dakota. This massive twister seen bearing down on these storm chasers. North Dakota Governor Armstrong declaring a statewide disaster.
Dad, it's horrible. It's so horrible out here. Like the whole farm's gone.
In Valley City, one family's farm flattened by that tornado. This barn torn apart.
It's totally gone. Everything's destroyed.
Parts of this nearby town of Enderlin leveled. Nothing left of this home, torn down to its foundation. First responders say the scene was one of the worst they've ever faced.
It's a tragic event because they are all close. We are a tight-knit community and everybody knows everybody.
These empty train cars derailed by a tornado, one of them thrown far from the tracks. With those storms moving past the Heartland, wildfires in Utah scorching multiple homes, the sky lighting up orange with the tree line burning. And tonight, that dangerous heat wave expanding east, the uncommonly early onset of triple-digit temperatures putting millions at risk. New York City's Mayor Adams warning New Yorkers to get ready.
These conditions could be deadly and life-threatening if you are not prepared.
With that heat fueling those dangerous storms in North Dakota, that's where thousands remain without power tonight as first responders continue searching the area.
Melissa Adan, thank you. And as we mentioned, more than 150 million Americans are now under heat alerts. Let's get right to meteorologist Dani Beckstrom from our New York station WABC. And Dani, how long could this dangerous heat wave last?
Right into the work week, Whit, especially here in the Northeast. Taking a look at all the heat alerts, we're talking from Colorado up through Maine. We have extreme heat warnings for major metro areas like Minneapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis. That warning extending from Philly up through Boston tomorrow. Let's talk temperature. Today, the focus of that intense heat over the Midwest. That's spreading northeast tomorrow. And these highs that we're seeing, it's very unusual for us to see this intensive heat this early in the season. It's one of the reasons why we could see so many records fall. In New York City specifically, Monday and Tuesday, those standing daily high temperature records were set back in 1888. Also this early in the season, our bodies haven't acclimated. Compounding the issue is the humidity. That builds with the heat. Triple-digit heat indices for D.C., for New York, for Boston. Another reason this is so dangerous, Whit, is the fact that our overnight lows are our average highs for this time of year in New York City, so our bodies don't have time to recover.
Now, the first day of summer comes roaring right in. All right, Dani Beckstrom, thank you. We appreciate it. We head overseas now to the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran. Tonight, we're learning multiple U.S. B-2 stealth bombers are on the move heading to Guam. Those planes could carry the 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs capable of destroying Iran's underground nuclear facility. This as President Trump considers whether to launch an American strike against Iran. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News multiple B-2 stealth bombers capable of carrying bunker-busting bombs heading to Guam. As President Trump weighs joining Israel in its war against Iran, convening an urgent meeting with his top national security advisors. Those bombers, the only U.S. aircraft capable of dropping the 30,000-pound explosive that could damage or destroy Iran's Fordo nuclear facility, buried deep underground in a mountain. The B-2s, which are based in Missouri, can stay in the air for 24 hours thanks to tanker jets, which can refuel the bombers. And multiple refueling planes are seen in this map on FlightAware. Tonight, it's unclear why the B-2s and other aircraft have been moved to Guam.
They would have to move this closer to Iran if they were going to use this to go after the very deeply buried targets underneath Fordo Mountain. So it may take more than one attack, more than one sortie across the target by these B-2s. So if the president does decide to go in and attack Iran, it probably will take more than one day, more than one strike.
It comes as a second U.S. carrier. The USS Nimitz is set to arrive in the region. The carrier equipped with 60 fighter jets. Tonight, Israel saying it struck Iran's Isfahan nuclear site again. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei remains in a bunker in an undisclosed location. The New York Times now reporting the Ayatollah has chosen 3 potential successors in the event he is assassinated. This week, Iran firing multiple strikes into Israel, hitting Haifa, Tel Aviv, and a hospital in southern Israel.
With Iran warning tonight that any U.S. attack would be dangerous for the 40,000 American troops in the region, and Iran saying that it won't negotiate on a nuclear deal until the Israeli bombardment stops. Whit.
Marcus Moore, thank you. And President Trump flying back to the White House tonight for a meeting with his national security team on Iran. Let's get right to ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang. And Selena, what more are you learning about this important meeting?
Well, Whit, this is a high-stakes meeting as President Trump continues to weigh his options. The clock is ticking on that 2-week deadline to decide whether to strike inside Iran. Now, those B-2 stealth bombers that Marcus mentioned, they are moving towards Guam, but that doesn't mean Trump has made his final decision. Trump's been speaking with a flurry of advisors and allies for advice, including with MAGA podcaster Steve Bannon, who has no official position in the government, but sources tell us that he's been playing an outsized role, speaking to the president by phone and meeting with Trump for lunch this past week. Now, there's currently a split within the Republican Party, and voices like Bannon's are urging the president to hold back, claiming that U.S. military intervention would break Trump's campaign promise to end all wars. The president has also been warned, sources tell us, that a U.S. military strike on the Iranian nuclear facility would be risky. Those 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs have been tested before, but they've never been used in war.
Selena Wang for us, thank you. And tune into This Week tomorrow morning. Jonathan Karl speaks with Senate Intelligence Committee Chair Tom Cotton about potential U.S. military involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict. Now to the emotional reunion for a Columbia University graduate and pro-Palestinian activist. Mahmoud Khalil is back with his wife and infant son after more than 3 months in a detention center. A judge ordered his release on Friday. He was detained after the Trump administration accused him of being a security threat. The Trump administration is vowing to appeal his release and still wants him deported. Here's ABC's Phil Lipoff.
Tonight, the family reunion 104 days in the making. Columbia University graduate and Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil back in New York, greeting his wife and infant son at Newark Airport. Released overnight from an immigration jail in Louisiana, a federal judge saying he was neither a flight risk nor a danger to the community.
Just the fact that I am here, it's a message. The fact that all these attempts to suppress pro-Palestine voices have failed now. So this is the message. My existence is a message. The Palestinian existence is a message to this administration.
The 30-year-old green card holder and permanent resident who recently received a graduate degree from Columbia.
You're going to be under arrest. So turn around.
Arrested in March in the lobby of his New York City apartment. His pregnant American citizen wife watching as federal agents handcuffed him and put him in an unmarked car. Secretary of State Marco Rubio invoking a rarely cited law, saying Khalil should be deported because his presence here in the United States threatens the administration's goal of fighting anti-Semitism. The battle over Khalil's future will continue. The Trump administration still wants to deport him, but for now they can't, unless they seek a different legal avenue to do so. Whit?
Phil Lipoff, thank you. Alarming new details tonight about the suspect in the shootings of 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses that left one couple dead. The FBI saying that the alleged killer, Vance Bolter, and his wife were doomsday preppers. Court documents also say that Bolter allegedly told his family to prepare for war. Here's ABC's Ike Ejiochi.
Tonight, what authorities are saying in a newly unsealed court filing about the suspect in that deadly Minnesota shooting that left 2 dead and 2 seriously injured. In a newly unsealed affidavit, authorities say the suspect, Vance Bolter, and his wife were preppers, people who prepare for emergencies, disasters, or disruptions to social order. According to the filing, after withdrawing all the money in his bank account, Bolter sent a text message telling his family something to the effect of preparing for war, and that people with guns may be showing up to the house, adding that at some point he gave his wife a bailout plan in case of emergencies. Authorities say Bolter's wife, who is not a suspect in this investigation, allowed police to search her vehicle, allegedly finding at least $10,000 in a safe, 2 handguns, and Bolter's passport. According to a search warrant, his wife also telling authorities Bolter had also purchased a silicone mask on Amazon. Authorities this week saying Bolter planned the attack carefully.
He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes.
Authorities also searching other properties associated with the suspect, saying they found a duffel bag containing 5 body bags at a storage unit in Minneapolis, as well as gun cases and cleaning supplies, according to the affidavit. And after searching his home in Green Isle, authorities say they discovered roughly $18,000 in cash, 2 boxes of masks, and nearly 50 firearms, along with a note card with the names of public officials and the states they live in. With these deadly attacks on lawmakers and threats against officials are reaching historic highs. As for Vance Bolter, he remains in custody, and his next court hearing is scheduled for June 27th. Whit?
Ike Ejiochi, thank you. Now to a Wisconsin couple accused of an elaborate poison plot. Prosecutors say they allegedly conspired to use poisons, including cyanide and hydrogen sulfide, against 2 women who one of the suspects had briefly dated. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, authorities in hazmat suits descending on a Wisconsin home as part of their investigation into this couple, accused of orchestrating an elaborate plot to poison, stalk, and kill 2 women one of the suspects previously dated. Prosecutors alleging Paul Van Dwyne Jr. and Andrea Whitaker attempted to poison the women with deadly substances, including cyanide, on multiple occasions and for weeks, according to a criminal complaint. One alleged victim speaking at a Friday court hearing.
I no longer feel safe, not in my own home, not out in the community. I am scared for myself. I'm scared for my 2 children. I cannot sleep soundly.
Prosecutors say the incident first took place in April when the couple allegedly broke into one of the victims' cars and filled her gym water bottle with cyanide and thallium, a highly toxic metal. They say just days later, the couple putting a tote bag full of hydrogen sulfide in the trunk, sickening the victim's younger sister. Prosecutors also say on another occasion the couple stashed Abrin, a toxic plant protein, inside the vehicle's air vents. Authorities say the case broke weeks later in May, when according to court documents, one of the victims was hospitalized with severe stomach pain after drinking from her water bottle. Doctors finding dangerous levels of cyanide and thallium, investigators say. The woman then went through old text messages, pointing detectives to Van Dwyne, who she said she met on a dating app 2 years prior.
The truth is, I barely knew him. And yet, he and his accomplice decided that I should die.
Authorities arresting Van Dwyne last week after they say they found him surveilling one of the victims, finding a trail camera pointed at her home, then apprehending his girlfriend Whitaker a day later after they say they observed her removing evidence from her boyfriend's residence.
And with both suspects pleading not guilty to misdemeanor charges, they've also been charged with stalking and attempted homicide. They're due back in court later this summer. Whit.
Morgan Norwood, our thanks to you tonight. There's much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday, including breaking news out of New York City, a boat crash with multiple injuries. Plus the fiery tragedy in the sky, multiple deaths reported when a hot air balloon caught fire and crashed, and what police are now saying about the death of celebrity chef Anne Burrell. Next tonight in New York City, a boat crashed into a dock this afternoon. Police are calling it a mass casualty incident. About 400 people were on board the boat when it struck the dock along the Hudson River. At least 10 people were hurt. Their injuries are believed to be minor. Police are investigating what caused the crash. Horrifying images from Brazil tonight. Investigators say video posted on social media is being used to determine why a hot air balloon suddenly caught fire. There were 21 people on board that balloon. At least 8 were killed when the balloon came crashing down in Praia Grande in southern Brazil. 13 others were rushed to the hospital. The cause of the fire is under investigation. When we come back, what police say they found while investigating the death of celebrity chef Anne Burrell. To the index now, the death of celebrity chef Anne Burrell is reportedly being investigated as a possible drug overdose. Police sources say Burrell was surrounded by about 100 assorted pills when she was found unconscious Tuesday in her Brooklyn home. Burrell was best known as the host of the Food Network show Worst Cooks in America. She was 55 years old. Police have made an arrest in the suspected hit-and-run death of a well-known realtor on New York's Long Island. That realtor, Sarah Barak, appeared in a Netflix series, $1 Million Beach House. She was found unconscious early Thursday in the Hamptons, later died. Police arrested a Virginia woman on Friday. She's charged with leaving the scene of an accident. Still ahead, a celebration for a young boy's major milestone. Finally tonight, America Strong, the brave little boy, even stronger now and full of heart.
We first introduced you to John Henry Lee about a year ago. He'd been hospitalized for 6 months due to a rare heart condition. But he warmed America's hearts when he announced with pure joy his life-changing news. High-fiving his friends at the Cleveland Clinic.
Congratulations.
Yay, that's wonderful.
At 6 years old, John Henry had already been through 3 separate surgeries. The only treatment option left was a heart transplant. He spent 6 months on the waiting list, but eventually receiving his new heart. And just this week, a critical milestone, the 1-year anniversary of his transplant. John Henry is now running around like a normal 7-year-old. He's back in school, doing rehab 5 times a week to improve his mobility and strength.
Ready? Go!
And reuniting with those special friends, the hospital staff who took care of him for so long.
Where are you looking? He's watching a dinosaur movie.
A grateful John Henry sending this message today.
Thank you, Jonah.
What an anniversary. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I'm Whit Johnson. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.